Yes, that's right. It is Coach's Corner, and it's time to bring in Ben Gardiner, assistant coach at the NRL Perth Bears and head coach of Samoa. How are you on this Monday morning,
Very
Benny?
good, mate. Very good. Nice to be here.
Yes.
Someone different again. It's like the last 3 weeks have been different people. Fossey's on holidays and new guys in the hot seat. How good?
Absolutely, mate. You know that we actually have, we've met before, actually.
Have we really?
We've come across each other at NRL level.
Yeah.
Your only head coaching appearance was at the West Tigers. Do you remember who you played that day?
North Queensland in North Queensland. I'll never forget it.
And do you remember how that game finished?
I do remember how it finished. Let's say I was very nice after the game in the press conference, and I said that I will work with the referees. Sometimes they make mistakes, but
yes.
I thought that they made a big mistake that day. But we didn't harp on it too much.
I remember that day
Talk to us.
You guys were in front. We went short off the kickoff, and then I was like, I just needed to challenge the call. And then there was an escort penalty, what you would say, questionable escort penalty.
Questionable escort penalty.
The game was over, and then Valentine Holmes had a kick from basically 30 out and 5 in from the sideline to win the game. He hits it. I think it was James Tarmo's 300th game. Is that right?
It was, yeah.
As well. Sorry to bring it up.
It was a big game. Good starting point, by the way.
Yeah.
It was a big game for him in particular. Obviously, being up in North Queensland, a North Queensland premiership winner, and then we got to the end of the game, and we fought our way back into the game. We kicked the goal. I think Adam Dewey kicked the goal to put us in the lead, and then on the back of that, the game was over basically. And I think that was like a little bit of a trailblazer moment from you, where you challenged after the bell had gone.
Yep.
Now that's something that tends to happen all of the time. So you've set the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. I'll take it because I remember that game. I just remember thinking after the game, geez, we got lucky on this one. All right, let's talk into some NRL news now,
Sure.
Benny. Round 18's just wrapped up. Obviously, only the 5 games this past weekend with Origin 3 set to come up, and obviously a lot of our big name players not playing because they are in Origin. But what caught your eye over the course of the weekend?
Yeah, a few things caught my eye. Probably the first one I know that you sort of chatted about a little bit was the Dylan Brown field goal.
Yeah.
I just thought that was one of the best indications of timing and really great ball playing from him throughout the game. But to get that clutch moment at the end of the game, that's 2 games that's been really close up there at Newcastle that they've been able to find a way to win.
Yep.
I think last year they wouldn't have found the way to win this game, or also the game the week before, and around 12 points in both of those games to be able to come home and win. That's a fair indication that their defence is very good. But just that moment, his control in that moment, and then obviously yourself playing in the halves, his ability and time with the ball at the moment, it's unbelievable. He's going deep into the line. He seems like he has all the time in the world, and he's really creating a lot of space for his centres. And there's a lot of teams in the NRL that aren't doing that at the moment.
Yep.
There's a lot of teams that are, not holding the middle up, so therefore the edges, centres and wingers are getting put into touch. But he's doing a great job to give those speed men on the end of his line a lot of opportunities. And, you see the tries. You see Gagai, he's getting more points. Young are getting more points. And then over on the other side, Hunt as well. I just think that he's doing a great job for his team, so that really caught my eye on the weekend.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that Dylan Brown field goal because, as you said, it was such a clutch kick, and when I saw it, he definitely, I don't know if he was thinking field goal in that instance. Obviously, got the pass on the wrong side the wrong side for a right footer. So for people who may not know, ideally as a right foot kicker, you want to get your pass from your left so you can move out. Your footwork then gives you a chance to really catch the ball, take less steps, and then fire the shot, which is in a high pressure moment. You're trying to get the ball down to the ground and to your foot as quick as possible. Dylan Brown gets it from his right side, has to sort of take a couple of extra steps, still has the poise and control in such a big moment to execute. That's what Newcastle have bought for 10 years, right?
Spot on.
Yeah.
That's why they've paid the money for it.
Yep.
And I got to say, I did do a little bit of research on you, Chad, over the weekend. And you can have a say in field goals because you've kicked 20 in your career.
That's right.
So if you were setting up for a field goal, and in my understanding, coaching, setting up for field goals, you'd never be setting up on the right post or the right side of the ruck for a right foot kicker, would you? You'd be setting up on the left side of the post.
Absolutely.
Just go through that again for us.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it is you want to get a pass as a right footer from your left side. So you want to be on the left post or just outside the left post or even towards, I'm even happy with the scrum line.
Yeah.
Like anywhere between the scrum line and the left post, that's where I want to get to a spot. But for me, it's always been as well, Benny, like with regards to like time of the game.
Yeah.
Right? What time of the game and when are we going to make the decision? Is it 10 minutes ago? Are we thinking about that? Have we trained for those situations? And then also, what tackle is it? Are we planning to go early? Are we leaving it late? What are we thinking? Try first before field goal. So these are all the things that come into play for me, and we see it at stages. Some teams do it way better than others. For me, I was always someone who I was always happy to take the field goal. And there'd be times in the game, like if it was 12-all and we were going at halftime, boys, let's take the 1 point on offer.
Yeah.
I remember there was this game we were in front by 8 against Melbourne, and in front by 8, there's a field goal opportunity here. Let's just take it and go up by 9. It was wet conditions. We took it. We ended up winning the game by 1 point in the second half because we missed a goal. So for me, every point matters. But I think the setup is so important, and also having your option 1.
Yeah.
Option 2, like when I was at the Cowboys, we had myself. I used to take the goals inside 40, and then we left the outside 40 stuff to Valentine Holmes because he's got
the big kick,
the big boot, right?
Yeah.
And then also like your variations on, because if you're the guy who the opposition team's done the video on, what's going to happen is if it's me, if I'm at the Cowboys, I'm getting all the attention when it's golden point.
Yeah.
We need to put pressure on the field goal kicker. So then you need another option with regards to what does that look like? How can you get a trick play in?
Switch back, or you need someone on the other side of the ruck.
Yep.
That's probably the most interesting thing about the Dylan Brown one. Like you think about the pressure, like all the pressure was on. It was tackle 5. It was inside the 10. They knew he was kicking because the other guy had been tackled. It was just like a chaotic moment, and he just took all the chaos out of it and just dropped it on the boot and threw it over. Like, so easy.
It was so good. One of the things I used to like, actually, Benny, was when we used to get to a field goal spot earlier in the set, play 2 or play 3, and say it was like just outside the left post, and I would stand back there in field goal position ready to get the ball, and then our dummy half would go big show down to the open, and he'd take both markers with him. Then he'd come back down the short side, play our left back rower in behind the ditch, and then we'd kick it off the next one.
Quick play the ball.
Quick play the ball. So it's like you get the quick play the ball, you relieve all the pressure. That's just a little bit of an insight to what we used to think about there. So we've got Benny Gardiner in. If you've got any text this morning, 0457 736 736. We'll be chatting all the NRL round 18, everything NRL. So just let us know whatever you want to talk about. If you've got any questions, we'd love to hear it. And we'll be back after the news with more of Benny. Yes, welcome back to the front office. It's Chad Townsend in the chair for Vossi this Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. And don't forget, the run home is back today with Joel and Fletch. The boys will be live on Fox League and KO from 5 p.m. And Bunny's outside back. Campbell Graham will be joining the show. But this morning, we've got Ben Gardiner, Perth Bears assistant coach and head coach of Samoa, live in studio, continuing our wrap-up of round 18 and all things happening in the NRL. Benny, what about round 18? Obviously, we spoke about players or teams missing players with Origin. Gives a lot of youngsters an opportunity to step up across the league. Was there any youngster that sort of caught your eye on the weekend with their performance? Yeah,
I had a look through a number of the games. I thought the first game on Friday night, the Panthers versus Rabbitohs game, was a good example. Thinking the Panthers got some young guys that have sort of been getting some game time throughout the year, but the two Billies I'm really impressed with. That's Billy Phillips and Billy Scott. Young Billy Phillips, he's a bit of a Yowie clone, to be honest with you. He's fast foot speed, plays a bit of back row, plays in the middle. It will be a lock at some stage for them. I thought he was unbelievable. And then young Billy Scott that comes off the bench, a young hooker. He's been in the top 30 squad for 3 years now. Just been plying his trade. He's a left foot kicker. He hasn't really kicked any in the NRL yet, but he's got a 40-20 in him. So that's going to add to their game when Nathan's Nathan's kicking down the right-hand side and fullbacks are starting to sit on Nathan's kick and he'll be able to kick down the left-hand side. So I thought those two have been really good for them. But the highlight of that game for me was young Jennings for South. Like, what about him? Like, he looks starry-eyed and all of that, but he was still able to, pull off some really big moments. And I watched him over the last couple of weeks. It took him a little while to get his first try, but he's a guy that's going to get a lot of tries in the NRL, isn't he? Like, what a player.
He's been so impressive. You see these guys come into the NRL and just with their first couple of touches, you can just kind of tell if they've got it. There's something about him. And young Dane Jennings just looks like he's got that speed off the mark. And Jack Cogger was going to him a lot, asking him a lot of questions under the high ball. Yeah. He was going to everything. Yep. And he wasn't always coming down with it. But the thing I liked from him was that he was just having to go time and time again. And he's impressed, or he's impressed and progressed regards to playing SG ball at the start of this season, that red-hot South Sydney team.
Yep.
He's moved all the way into the NRL. Just a quick one on Billy Phillips. 15 carries, 133 metres on the weekend. I feel like he's gone a little bit under the radar.
He has.
With his performance. What's his background? Is he a Panthers junior? Has he progressed through the grades?
He's a country boy, and he's progressed through the grades at the Panthers. So came in the younger grades. Not sure if he was there for Harold Matts, just definitely there for SG ball though. And he came through firstly the flag and then into Cup last year. He's been in the NRL squad for a couple of years, not as a top 30 player, but he's worked his way through development and working his way into the top 30. He's just a quietly spoken guy that goes about his business and really good young guy. But he's just got this ability like to break tackles and to get a quick play the ball. He's worked really hard on his ball playing skills. So I know he played in the back row on the weekend, but he's a genuine lock, genuine ball playing lock, as I said, in the Yowie mould. So he's got a great guy to do a lot of learning from out there. Yeah, he's a really, really good, strong player. And
obviously last week we heard of the reports that Moses Leota has been given permission to seek his interest outside of the Panthers. And another youngster, Liron Patea, looks like he's someone that can progress.
Definitely.
Do you think, is he sort of the long-term replacement, you think, for Moses Leota?
I would think so, yeah. Young Liron has been, again, playing first grade now for nearly 2 years. He's been in and out of the team, working on his fitness and working on, I suppose, his ability to stay in the match and his concentration. But he's a guy that breaks tackles. He's physical. He's got a great offload. And, he's one of those guys that you go to training and, you do your little 6-on-4 games or you touch footy games and he's like a halfback playing in a prop spotty. Like he's extremely, extremely skillful. He's got a kicking game. Like he's got everything that you possibly could think of in a rugby league player, but he happens to be in a front rower's body. He needs to work on his consistency and his reliability around the way he plays. But, he's a really handy one. I also like from the weekend in the Tigers and the Dragons game, young Lenyon. He's been working hard on his game. Obviously, he's got a great mentor there in Appy Coruscant, and obviously they lost Appy on the weekend, it looks like, for a period of time. So young Lenyon, that's a bit hard to say that. He's been really impressive for the first couple of weeks. He's, played maybe 2 or 3 games. He's going to get plenty more games now, I would think, but definitely needs to continue to work on his game and build his game, but he's going to have to play a lot of first grade, I would say, into the back end of the year now.
Absolutely. Hey, Benny, just quickly on Leota, do you know if the Bears are in on him? Is there any conversations that have been happening there? Or?
I think everyone in their right mind would be in on Leota. Like he's an international. He's a 4-time premiership winner. He's a great, strong, physical alpha male that any pack would want to go for. He's a definite starter, a player that starts the game every weekend, never takes a backward step. So I think that any team in their right mind would be having a crack at Leota, and the fact he's been given the right to negotiate and the right to discuss moving forward already, that's a really good position for any club to be in, because what he does is he puts himself in the shop window before the November 1st guidelines, and I think that helps any club to have a discussion with him. It gives clarity for him, but also gives clarity for the other clubs, and it puts him out before other players can be put out. So I think it's a really smart move from his manager. Yeah.
Hey, Benny, as we said, only the 5 games over the course of the weekend, and I don't really like being a Debbie Downer, but I kind of think that the standard of play across the weekend wasn't great. I thought we saw a couple of bludgers of a couple of games. We saw a lot of errors this weekend, and
we did.
Yesterday in the Sea Eagles Manly game, I mean, Manly got what they deserved. They weren't great. Kieran Foran, we heard from him in the press conference what he had to say. But what did you make of the quality of the games on the weekend?
Yeah, not very good at all. I sort of looked across the games. The least errors on the weekend, it was 24 errors on the Panthers Souths game that started the weekend. And then as you go through, like we had 2 games that had 31 errors. We had 2 games that had 28 and 29 errors. Like that means that on average you're having 15 errors per team. Like you can't win big games like that. Like if you look at the time that I spent at the Panthers, we would expect that we'd need to have 8 errors or less to be winning games. If you're having any more than that, you're sort of giving the opportunity too many chances for possession and too many opportunities with territory. So, when I looked at the Dragons game, the Dragons had 17 errors. The Tigers had 14 errors. Like, that's just too many. And the thing that got me about that game, there was just errors in really simple positions, errors in the ruck, errors in the play of the ball. You go into the Eels game and the Sea Eagles game, it was really similar. Like, just too many opportunities where they were giving the ball to the other team in good positions, which put them into positions to be able to score tries too easily. And that we didn't have blowouts on the weekend, which was an interesting thing. So when you think about it, look, we've got all of these errors, and we're giving the giving the opposition all of these opportunities to score, but then we're not scoring any points. So why is that the case? And you sort of then look at the quality of the teams and the spines that are in play, and you sort of go, they've got all of these opportunities to score, but they're still not able to find points. Yeah. Like, that's an indication that the quality's not as high as what it has been in other weeks when the Origin players are in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like, yesterday while watching, called the Parramatta Seagulls game on SEN League, and it just looked like Pezzett and Volkman, it just looked like they hadn't played a game of football together.
Yeah.
Or trained together.
Yeah,
right?
No, even trained together is a challenge. Like. Yeah. They might not have played too many games together, I wouldn't think, but it ended up being quite individual in that game. Thankfully Parramatta were able to step up individually and score some tries. So you talk about Volkman and Pezzett, they didn't work very well together, but Volkman had that beautiful try where he went off his left foot and scored next to the post. And then Pezzett has the grubber for himself. Thank God they got that individual talent to be able to score those tries, because in terms of combinations, not much was happening there. I got to say, in that game, the Walker flick pass. Talk to us about that.
Well, he heard him talk about it after the game. He just said he just heard a voice. And didn't he bring some energy yesterday?
He's unreal.
He was great. His ball playing, I feel like he really turned the game. And you spoke about Pezzett and Volkman not really controlling the game or looked like they hadn't trained together. When Walker came on the field, he was organising the shape, organising people around him. Their attacking structure completely changed when he came on the field. We saw a couple of really impressive flick passes on the weekend. Look, we've got to get to a break, but more with Samoan coach Ben Gardiner when we get back. We'll have a look at State of Origin Game 3, plus the bunker decision in the Panthers versus Rabbitohs game. And Cody Walker, what were you doing? This isn't the Soccer World Cup. Yes, welcome back to the front office. It's Chad Townsend in the hot seat for Vossi Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Then Vossi will be returning with Vossi's verdict on Thursday. Just updating you, the England and Mexico game has been pushed back with weather warning. So conditions too hot over there in the USA. We'll keep you updated with what that looks like and a starting time there. We've got Ben Gardiner in the studio live here at the moment. We're recapping all of round 18 as well as a look into all things NRL. Actually, Benny, let's get into the bunker decision on the weekend in that Panthers versus Souths game. Obviously, Milky Jenkins, he's try-scoring. What do you call it? Like season phenomenon? Ridiculous season continues. This one was obviously a bit of a contentious one. On replay, the elbow looks as if to be hitting the ground in slow motion. What did you make of this one, Benny?
Yeah, I thought there was a few things in it. I thought that the first thing was firstly an obstruction. So the old rule of you can't run behind your own player. Like, they've made it really clear in the NRL that if you receive the ball inside the guy that's running through as a lead, straight away that's an indication of obstruction. They said that it didn't affect the defenders, but the defender did come in hit quite hard. So I'm not quite sure how it didn't affect the defender. So that's step one. Step two of it, went to score the try, went to reach out, ball carrying arm, touch the ground. Now, it doesn't say the ball has to touch the ground. It just says the ball carrying arm.
Correct.
His elbow touched the ground. So as his elbow touched the ground and then he goes and reaches out, I think logically that should have been brought back. It's actually funny with the bunker at the moment. Like, the bunker tends to be trying to be a lot quicker. Which is a good thing. But then at the same time, they're actually missing some of the more obvious things. So they're looking at the detailed aspects, but not getting the obvious ones. And I thought that they missed that one on the weekend. Yeah, it seems to be there's a little bit of frustration around the bunker at the moment with fans. Sometimes I watch the bunker and I'm like, did the bunker just see the replay that I saw, on TV, on the call? Yeah. Look, another big moment in this game, Cody Walker. Had a bit of a brain snap, and we know Cody Walker plays with emotion, and he can get a bit fiery at stages, and sometimes I guess he plays with his heart on his sleeve, but he got it all wrong in this instance. I know we heard from Cody after the game. He had remorse. He apologised to his teammates, but look, I was pretty critical of Cody Walker over the course of the weekend because I thought this was just a poor look, and I think Cody Walker
like when you're hurting your football team, especially the youngster Dane Jennings, we spoke about him and how well he played the other day, and to get the youngster's potential first try taken off him. I know he scored later in the game, but that was bad. That was a bad moment from Cody Walker.
Yeah, I think with Cody, Cody just sits right on the edge of the red line. And sometimes he's on the side where he's aggressive and physical, and it really can upset the opposition team. But then sometimes he can just get pushed over the edge. And once he goes over that red line, bad things tend to happen around him. And whether it's penalties, the week before he gave a number of penalties away. But that one there was just a major brain snap. And to Cody's credit, he did step up and apologise, and he accepted through his leadership that he'd done the wrong thing. But I just thought that it's not a good look for him or a good look for the club, particularly considering that they're trying to lead some younger players in the team, and they're also trying to be role models for their fans. I just thought it was a bad look for the club in general.
Absolutely. Got a text coming through from 213-0457 736 736. Hello for Coach. Ben, enough about Origin and NRL. Let's talk World Cup.
Yes.
How is the Samoan side shaping up for the end of the year? Happy with the form so far. Obviously, a big year for you.
Huge year. Yeah, huge year. I'm actually off to PNG on Friday for a reconnaissance trip for the World Cup. So with Samoa, we play 3 pool games. We play the first one in Sydney and the third one in Sydney. So first one against France, and third one we play Tonga, which is a huge game for us. The second one we go off to PNG and play PNG over there.
Let's go.
Which would be huge. So I'm actually going over there with one of our staff members, Mark Tafua. You might know Mark,
I think.
Thought
You
might have.
Yeah.
So Mark and I are heading over there on the weekend, and we're going to go and have a little bit of a look around. And we're also going to watch a Queensland Cup match there with the PNG Hunters versus North Devils to get a bit of a feel of how the games go and the training sessions go. So that's the start of the World Cup stuff for us. So we've been doing a lot of work in the background with our team. Really happy with the form. We've got some great guys playing really well. So we've got a number of guys on Origin duties this week. So got Murray Tuolangi, Jeremiah Nanai, Hammer up there with Queensland. In the New South Wales team, we've got Payne and Critter. We've also had Bizzer in there leading up to it. And Helam Lukey was with the Queensland team. We've got a lot of guys in form. Then we've got young Suafai Longo that's going great down in Melbourne and doing a great job down there. We've got some young guys coming through as well. On the weekend, we had young Ronald Volkman playing really well for Parramatta, and Joash Papaili playing for Parramatta as well. So got some young guys coming through playing really good footy. What I really like about our team and our team that we're looking to choose for the back end of the year is we've got a lot of guys in form and a lot of guys pushing each other for positions in the team, and that's sort of how you want to be leading into a World Cup. Yeah,
awesome, Benny. That's amazing. Samoa are going to be very, very impressive at the end of the year. Still to come on the show, we've got all we'll continue with our round 18 wrap up, a bit of a talk around Origin. Brett Phillips still to come, and we've got Mitch Duke as well. We'll talk all things Socceroo. This is the front office getting you through your workday. Thanks to Red Energy. Thank you very much for joining us, Benny, too, by the way.
My pleasure.
Very impressive. Sorry. Really appreciate you coming in here. You do a fantastic
pleasure,
job.
Mate.
Very professional. I know you're not hands-on coaching right now, but obviously still watching every game, taking notes. So really appreciate your time this morning.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Benny. This has been the front office. Thanks to Red Energy. Red Energy has plans to suit homes right up to big business. redenergy.com.au. Don't forget, give us a call 1300 01 1170 or a text 0457 736 736. We'll be back shortly. Here we go. DR, it is CT. Good morning, mates. How are you?
Yeah, going well, Chatty. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Riccio from the Daily Telegraph. DR, let's get straight into it. Obviously, State of Origin, only a couple of days away. A lot has been made around this squad that Laurie Daly's named for Game 3. A couple of big changes we knew that there would be. What's your take on this side, and can they get the job done on Wednesday night?
Chatty, I think it's the most balanced team that Laurie's chosen across the entire series, as far as having the people in the right positions. And I think it probably hasn't been spoken about, but as much as what the other spotlight players are, but I just think the return of Stephen Crichton is underestimated here.
Yeah.
He's an super experienced centre, absolute match winner in big games. And he's one of those players, you can talk to this better than me, Chad, but one of those players, he sits in the dressing room and they're going to look across the room and know that Stephen Crichton, okay, he might not be in his greatest stretch of form at the moment, but this is a guy that in grand finals, when it matters most, and in Origin matches previously, gets it done. And I think his return for this, I thought it was a real problem area for the Blues in Game 2, their centre defence, namely Katoni Staggs, Collar who held his gloves up. But I just think in the outside backs in the centre position, Stephen Crichton is a major in that probably hasn't been spoken about as much as what I think it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. We know the class that Crichton brings, as well as the talk and communication, DR. We've seen that at Bulldogs level, obviously been shifted closer to the ball under Cameron Ciraldo as a shake-up in the spine. I think his leadership and his big game experience will be vital for us in Game 3. DR, do we have an update on Ethan Strange and that rolled ankle? What's the latest there as well?
Mate, look, today's the day. So the Blues are training at Ballymore in Queensland today. He ultimately has to show the Blues coaching staff that he can get up and running today, or it's all over for Ethan Strange as far as being part of this squad. They have given him every opportunity to overcome this rolled ankle that he suffered prior to the weekend. Ultimately, it's today, Chad. So, look, if he is ruled out, Matt Burton is the man to come straight onto that bench. And if I've got to say, that's not a bad alternative. And I appreciate, and I'm a huge supporter of Ethan Strange. I would have had him in starting 6 in this game.
Yep.
But Matt Burton knows the squad, knows how Laurie Daly prepares the Blues, and would be ready to go if required.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the kicking game for you, DR? Because we've seen across the first 2 games the early kick on the ground. Obviously, Game 1, we saw Queensland exploit that, and then Cleary had to put one in that Game 1 as well. That's played a big feature, I think, just as like an easier try for some of these teams. Now, with that short kicking game as well, and obviously, with the New South Wales side, we've taken out Toto, we've put in Bostock, we know what an aerial threat he is. We know we've got Mark on the other wing. Do you expect there to be an aerial raid for Queensland on Wednesday night?
1,000%, absolutely. It's just a factor that wasn't there and wasn't available under Brian Toller. And also to where the Blues were kicking from a lot of the time, Chad. Look, in Game 1, possession-wise, we just know the Blues just couldn't hold the footy and build momentum and get upfield to be in a strong kicking area to put those aerial raids on. So, absolutely Bostock. And, it was really interesting. I spoke to Hamish Stewart, Dragons forward, very, very close mate of Jack Bostock. And I asked Hamish whether, there's a lot of talk about Bostock, putting Bostock in on debut at the Cauldron. Will he handle the pressure? And Hamish laughed his head off. He said he's the most confident kid that he's ever known in football.
Have you interviewed him before? Because he is quite a chat, DR.
It's terrific. Absolutely outstanding. He will lap this up. Now, if he does suffer an error or comes up with a blunder, don't think he's going to carry his divots. He'll get over it and go again. I'm super excited to see how Bostock goes. The only counter to that, Chatty, is just on those yardage carries. He's a big ball man. He does get lifted up and driven back. But I would argue, there's been a lot of talk about, will Bostock's yardage carries hurt the Blues? I look at the back 5 of Queensland, and I would argue only Selwyn Cobbo is probably their best. He would be the best yardage man of their back 5. Jojo Fafita, not a renowned yardage man. So I think it evens out, to be fair. So looking forward to Bostock.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I think it's going to be a huge challenge for us if we can get opportunities one-on-one, especially because there's so many times where you put a kick up and if it's just like, get me the ball, put it up in the corner, we see the escorts that come along. So if we can figure out a way where we have some shape and then we run and we get those genuine one-on-ones, similar to what we saw with Jojo Fafita when he out-jumped Brian Toto in Game 2 and took an absolute specky. That was phenomenal. So I look forward to that. I think that'll be a big part of the plan. Hey, my last question on Origin is Blake Brayley returns to the bench for New South Wales, and we saw in Game 1, he came on and played a big role. They changed their attacking style a little bit, and they played a bit more through Blake Brayley and his ball-playing ability that he can do so well. When do we expect Brayley to get on the field? Is it the first half? Is it the second half? And what are your thoughts there, DR?
Oh, look, again, given the fact that we've run into some trouble with our bench changes in Game 2, Chatty, I'm not going to sit here and try and predict what's going through the Blues coaching staff's mind as far as changes are concerned. However, Blake Brayley did come on with about 29 minutes remaining in game one before suffering that broken arm 2 days later. I say get him on as soon as possible. I really do. I think he rolls the ruck, his speed around the ruck, his service. I want footy fans to take a minute on Wednesday night to watch the speed and precision and length of pass from Blake Brayley from dummy half.
Yeah.
And how he's the halfback or first receiver it can stand somewhat 20, 25 metres away, and Blake Brayley will put it straight into their hands. His service, I think, is the best in the game. His speed around the ruck is something that will threaten Queensland. And fan of Reece Robson, yes, he's more of the blue collar worker, isn't he? He gets around the ruck and does all the grit stuff. Where Brayley really offers something out of the dummy half area as far as attack is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep your eye on that for the New South Wales team. There's no doubt Blake Brayley can bring some X factor. The passing game is really impressive. Hey, DR, some news out of the weekend. Knights front rower Jacob Safidi, a hamstring injury. Reports are that it's pretty bad. What's the latest there?
Well, he's going for scans as we speak, and fingers crossed for Knights fans because he's been sensational for them, Jacob Safidi. He lasted just 14 minutes yesterday against the Dolphins before succumbing to that hamstring issue. As I said, scans today to determine the severity of that injury. And the other one too is Trey Mooney.
Yeah.
He suffered a calf injury during the week at training ahead of the Dolphins game. He's in doubt also for this important clash this weekend against South Sydney. Now, that's a big game. In the context of top eights and top fours, where South Sydney are at and where the Knights are at, that's a big, big game. And we saw yesterday the Knights needing to blood a couple of youngsters, namely Lachlan Crouch, who's a genuine talent. He has a crouch. And this forward pack of the Knights, they don't want to be suffering these types of injuries, hamstrings, calves, because we know they can linger at this crunch time of the season. Yeah,
absolutely. You're 100% right on that one. What about the news this morning? Carianis broke this one. Luciano Leilua set to depart, and he's off to Catalan for 3 seasons. It probably caught me a little bit surprised this morning, this one, DR.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, no, it is. It's a big story as far as Mick breaking this one on the Telegraph and Code Sports website. He joins the exodus to the UK Super League of Dragons players. Damien Cook, Tyrell Sloan, Matty Feagai, all off to Castleford, while Emre Gul is off to Wakefield. And now Luciano Leilua signing a 3-year deal to Catalan. Look, he attempted to get to the Broncos only 2 weeks ago for the remainder of this season. So it's clearly Luciano hasn't been happy with the way he's being used at Saints and has been searching for a new direction as far as his future is concerned. Look, the Dragons said, no, you're not leaving straight away. We need you this year, and that'll be the case for the remainder of this season. He won't be leaving early or anything like that, but it's another key turnover for Saints, and probably you could make a case it needs to happen, where they are and what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. What about another free agent, Moses Leota? Obviously being given permission to speak to rivals ahead of his November 1 off-contract status. Is there an update there? If I'm right, DR, he's been given a deadline. I think it's coming up very shortly to sort of get it done. Otherwise, he's got to put these negotiations on hold. Yeah,
Chatty, that's right. And it's a different strategy. But I will say, well done, Penrith.
Yeah.
They've actually... what I understand is this story broke potentially 10 days ago, early last week. And my understanding is Leota was given permission to negotiate well in advance of that, some 3 to 4 weeks ago. So he's actually been quietly going about his business, seeing what is on the table for a number of weeks. And that's been the window of opportunity that Penrith have given him. That closes this week, basically post this Wednesday night's Origin. They said, let's get through the Origin period, but that's the only time we've got. They just don't want to have continual contract talks. Once they get out of Origin, derailing their finals push. It will be a challenge, But my understanding is there's a large majority of these players that they are very confident of keeping. And I think Mitch Kenny will be the next one that will ultimately be confirmed as a re-signing for Penrith.
Yeah.
Despite a lot of conjecture about whether he'll stay. But Big Moses Leota basically has until this Wednesday to tell the Panthers where he stands. And they're not closing the door on keeping him either, Chad. Like they would, in a perfect world, they would love to keep him around. But
yeah,
ultimately it's going to come down how much they can afford and what he would get from a rival club.
Yep. Hey, DR, just a very quick one before we go. I got a text here from Tony. Is there anything to regards to the rumours on Joey Manu? Because he's always been linked. And again, he's been linked to the Roosters. Is there anything, just a quick one before we go?
Yeah, look, there was that window of June 30 opportunity for Joey to come into a roster. My understanding is that just won't be happening with his overseas club, just refusing to let him go. He's on ballpark $1.4 million playing rugby overseas, and simply no club here in the NRL can afford to pick up Joey Manu at that price. What I will say is there was at least one NRL club that had a significant discussion with Joey to get him back. And what I will say is it wasn't the Roosters.
Oh,
so,
right.
Look,
interesting.
Ultimately, it won't be happening, but he's a terrific player.
Absolutely. All right, DR. Well, thanks very much for your time this morning, mate. Great as always.
Thanks, Chatty. Go well.
Want more like that? Listen to SEN 1170 on the radio or on the SEN app. SEN, the home of sport.